military authorities saying, get rid of it and get rid of it now. So let's call them as witnesses and bring them to the court. So hopefully it's a little different this time, because now we have our two highest military authorities.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, you see that if the legislative vehicle falls apart and this is over, I think that even Justice Kennedy, I think, won't say anything until after the Senate vote. And so once the Senate vote, if the Senate vote fails, and then therefore the legislative vehicle is mute and dead, then I think that with the support of the Pentagon and the support of the Secretary of Defense, and with the climate, I think that the justices will take it. I think that in these other cases, we're talking about things that are unpopular within the institution of the military, and they're not about to go head-to-head with the military. But the military is not our adversary in this fight. It's Senator John McCain.
I want to add one more thing. You mentioned the survey, and one thing that they haven't talked about yet, it's been mentioned in a couple articles, 70% of the returned surveys were favorable. 250,000 of the 400 surveys sent out were not sent back in, which to me means 250,000 didn't care. They've got more important things to talk about. They're in combat. They want to do their job. They could care less, which is indifferent. And so if you factor those numbers into the 400,000 surveys, it comes out to about 88% are either supportive or just don't care. So I hope they talk about those numbers, because if you look at the 1947 survey that was done before racial integration, it was the other way around. It was 88% of white soldiers said, I will not serve with an African-American soldier. And they did it anyway.
They did it anyway.
So
that was my executive order.
it was, but my point is now we have a survey that shows support. I can't wait. That's why these next couple days, I'm waiting to hear what Senator John McCain's office has to say about this, because I'm sure they're trying to think of what their next excuse will be, because now they don't have the survey to back them up.
And I think the other pressure that comes up on this too is that whole global aspect. The report that came out the early part of the year that looked at militaries that have integrated LGBT into their forces, and that it's a no-brainer. It works. It's fine. I mean, the Allied forces are all going like, okay, come on, we need you to do this.
I'll throw something out there too. I was deployed to Al Udeid in Qatar, and we had on the base Canadians, Israelis, UK, and Aussies that we all flew with and fought with and showered with and lived in tents with, all in the same tent city, and they all had open policies. And it's still going on right now. We're all serving together. We're the only ones that have a problem with this. And we are serving with gays that are open in combat right now, and it's not a problem, and I lived it. I'm witness to it.
But we know we've had gays in the military going clear back in this country. I mentioned that I was an inspector general, and those of you that know a little bit about military history may know the name of Baron Friedrich von Steuben, who was a Prussian captain that had to leave Prussia because of his inclination to go with boys, and went to France and met Benjamin Franklin, who gave him carte blanche and recommended him to the Continental Congress, and lo and behold, he comes over here, they make him a major general, and he was the person that was responsible for changing the Continental Army from a ragtag group to a group that could fight toe-to-toe with the British Army, which was the best army in the world at the time. And so at the end of the war, he was, actually when he came from France, he brought a French lieutenant as his aide, because he did not speak, he did not speak English, and the lieutenant did. And so here would be this Prussian general standing out in the snow or whatever, yelling at these people in German, and the lieutenant is trying to yell at him and get that and take it to French and then translate to English. But he succeeded and gave George Washington an army, and Steuben also commanded one of the divisions at one of the battles. I don't remember off the top of my head. But Continental Congress gave him a retirement stipend or something, and he and the lieutenant retired happily ever after. Pennsylvania, I believe it was.
It's actually in the record too that General Washington admitted that without von Steuben, the revolution would not have been won. His words exactly in the letter that George Washington wrote.
Very important person to General Washington.
Shows that LGBT service members throughout history have been indispensable to the security of the country, and the country wouldn't exist
That's just the first one. I mean, there were others before him, but that's the first one of note. There have been others.